This crazy world is telling you your sons can be daughters and your daughters can be your sons. When will the madness stop? Never. So you have to decide, will you comply or defy? They tell us all, you will own nothing, eat bugs, and be happy. Is this why America's largest food processing plants and food supply plants keep burning down? Do you really think this is a coincidence? Of course not. The system is telling us right to our faces what they have planned for us. You have a choice. Comply or simply defy their plan for us all. Defy the system's plan and execute your own plan. Abundant, safe, secure natural food supply. Introducing the Food Forest Bible. This bestseller by Jovan Hutton Pulitzer is the single most complete, executable, easy-to-follow plan for sustainable, self-managing food production for self-sufficiency and food security. For the first time ever, a coffee table, heirloom quality full color book which unlocks the ancient secrets of creating a food forest. Imagine planting in a way which requires no digging, no pesticides, and creates massive ancient food abundance. No fooling. Food forests are the ancient secret to planning and planting once. And have your own Garden of Eden, which will feed your families for decade after decade. Buck the system. Buck the New World Order and order your very own copy of Jovan Hutton Pulitzer's Food Forest Bible. Learn how to create a sustainable, self-managing, natural food production for self-sufficiency and food security for your family. Side yard, small yard, backyard, backlot, or even lots of acres, the Food Forest Bible works for everyone. Order on Amazon, hardcover, softcover, or ebook. Don't comply. Expertly defy the system.
Oh, do you think it would help if I turned my mic on? That's how you know. I don't know why I didn't automatically click on. I'm so sorry. Trying to turn up your sound. What my device? I guess that's what happens. Can you hear me now? I guess that's what happens when I took a vacay, right? Anyway, I forgot to push the button. I'm so sorry. Hey, folks, welcome to the program. By the way, what I was saying, in case you read my lips, I was saying, did you watch the Roseanne interview? Right? I love Roseanne. We can just sit down and talk. It's great. It's just great, right? But did you watch it? It's interesting. There was kind of a lot of hate in the chat, which I thought was very interesting. A lot of hate in the chat. And I guess it's because we were talking about things Jewish, being Jewish, whatever the case may be. Anyway, welcome to the program. Do me a favor, guys. Share this program. Lift a finger. Give me the finger. I don't care which finger you give me. Hell, you can give me 2 or 3 fingers, right? Share this program and get it out there. We're going to be talking about something interesting that's going on in politics. Don't know if it's some of these wonky machinations or not. Anyway, speaking of machinations, as you get ready for the holiday, you know, we've got this promo running on again, right? You wanted to freeze dry your food, pack your food away. Hey, got a question for you. If you could build in your home or could have in your home such thing as a food prepper room, imagine your canning supplies and your dehydrator and your freeze dryer. Would you have that type of room in your home if you could do it? Meaning one room dedicated, right? Dedicated to your food supply. Would you do that? I think a lot of people will. I think a lot of people would consider something like that. Let me ask you a question. In your home, what if you could have a baking, and that's ing, a baking room, right? Would that be a cool room design if there was something in your home that was just, homes came with, boom, you could have a themed room. Maybe it's your food prep room, maybe it's your big pantry, maybe it's your baking room, right? Would you have a baking room? I'm kind of wondering why people haven't thought about this. Yeah, a canning room with and when I say a canning room, imagine it's your pantry, and you've got a sink and prep tables, and you've got a stove where you can heat up and do your canning, but specifically a canning room, or specifically a food prep room, right? Yeah. PM's in its baking room. It's otherwise known as your living room, getting baked, right? What if refrigerators changed? I'm exploring some stuff in homes, right? Technology stuff. What if, ready? What if right next to your kitchen, kind of built into your kitchen like a small room, right? You no longer had a refrigerator and you no longer had a freezer. Nobody ever has enough refrigerator or has enough freezer space. But what if there was such a thing in your new home as a freezer fridge room? Think about like a small room. It has two doors, might be 10 feet deep, right? Two doors, and one is the freezer side and one is the refrigerator side. Would you do that in a new home? Would you like dig that kind of space in a brand new home? It can be done when you think about, right? When you think about, and it's great for a big family, but nobody ever has enough space. And so I'm tinkering with this. I've been tinkering with home building and all this other stuff for a very long time. And I'm looking at the numbers in homes, and I'm looking at how homes are outfitted. And did you know, people spend a lot on refrigerators and spend a lot on freezers and never had enough. But if you just change the form factor, you could literally build it into a house, and it's right there in your kitchen or right next to your kitchen, but it's a walk-in freezer on one half or a walk-in refrigerator on the other half. Two doors, about the size of your refrigerator, right? Or wider, actually, wide refrigerator, double wide, but you walk into it and it's all fridge on one side and it's all freezer on the other side. Would you dig something like that? Last question, put it in chat. What if homes came with plug and play themed rooms? Here's what I mean. So you get a house, right? And then as you get comfortable in your house and age in your house, etc., people are thinking about downsizing, but what I realize is people are staying at home longer. What if you could bring your lifestyle into the home? What if you could actually have, when you're looking at the home you want to buy, you say, well, I want this to be my golf simulator room, or I want this to be my wine grotto, or I want this to be my, prepper pantry. And your home builder did it. You look at what it is, and you do that. Can I show you a few pictures? Because I'm muddling with some of these concepts. Let me see if I've got it on here. I'm just kind of thinking through conceptual where home building is headed. We've got a housing crisis in the United States of America, a very serious housing crisis. And people are paying $300 a square foot for not well-built homes. If we're really going to give home ownership to people, right, then I think home building has to go to the next level. We've got to get these prices down. But then we got to realize that people want to bring lifestyle into their homes because you're staying at home more. And so it shouldn't just be walls. It should be 3D. It's like you could have a maker room, which is like 3D printer where you do all your tiddlywinks. You could have an art studio. You could have a sound studio. You could have a podcasting studio. And I think these things may come from builders. But imagine if you had a baker room. Can you see that on my screen? Okay, let me change my background for a moment, maybe so you can see it better. I'll put this up. I can't do two at the time. Anyway, what if you had a baker room? Can you see that okay? All it is a room. I know Krista would love this. All this is a room dedicated specifically to baking. And you're right. I'm fed up with they just throw up houses today, right? It's got the sink, it's got a dishwasher, it's got all your baking stuff, baking ovens and your baking racks, but it's designed for baking. Would that be something that would be attractive? Or what if you had something like a wine room? Now, you normally see these in super high-end houses. But what if cookie cutter went away and this is within reach of everybody? What do you think? Because stuff like this is easy to do, but builders don't do it because they're just gouging prices, right? You can do spec homes. Carm says, I don't think you could do spec homes with these amenities, but definitely custom homes. What if a spec home, that means it's there in a neighborhood and you're going to go buy a home. Maybe you're not understanding the concept. What if even in spec homes, there's a home here and here's the rooms. But even in the spec home, say it's a 3-bedroom and you don't need 3 bedrooms. But the builder tells you, oh, by the way, do you want this to be your wine grotto, your cigar room, your red room, your baking room, or whatever? And they actually slid in like modules. You could actually have a baking room, wine room kind of side by side. What if you could even do that in spec homes? Everything in our life is plug and play. Why can't things like these be designed to be plug and play? You ever think about that? Anyway, it's just something that I'm noodling with, and you understand me and technology, but there is no reason, even in spec homes, that you can't do this. There is no reason you can't have what you really want. Like if you wanted the room just to be a walk-in freezer, there's no reason you can't have it, because what you might not even know is, for that extra room, it's just kind of sitting there, use it what it is. It can literally, you can manufacture your product in a way. It could pop in and be your walk-in fridge. It could pop in and be your quilting room. It's ready to go thematically to bring your lifestyle in the house. If you're a golfer, you could have that one room where the digital play any course in the world is just built right into the room. You can see it empty. You pick your module, kind of like you pick features on a vehicle. Do you think that would work? What do you think? Do you think that would work? Something that just kind of pops in. And basically what you do is you bring to the average American owner all of the high amenities that are specifically set out for multi-million-dollar homes, but you can do it in a $250,000 home. I think it can be done. I think it can be done. Anyway, that's what I've been kind of tiddling with. Is that the right word? Tiddling with, trying to figure out. Anyway, what brought this on is we've got our freeze dryer. You got $1,000 off. A lot of people are into, right? Canning, drying, and freeze drying. The one that's the most efficient and is the longest is freeze drying. And so we got you, again, another $1,000 off, right? Somebody says they would, and I'm just going, would like a dance studio. Now let's look at dance studio, just hypothetically, right? Specifically what that requires is you would want a great sound system, probably mirrors, so you could watch yourself if you're dancing, right? But you would want a high impact floor, cushioned, that would be a wooden floor, a dance studio. It can be done. And I don't know why people aren't doing this. And the railings, whatever the case may be, for a ballet studio, it can be done. There's not a reason in the world it can't be done. There's not a reason in the world you can't tell the home builder, I want a wet dry sauna and an infrared sauna with a soak tub in the middle of the room. And people think that this is just high-end homes. No. Anybody can have it if the builder just adjust. And you, just like you pick your computer, I want this much drive space, I want this and this. And it can be in a spec home because these modules can pop in like a day. So you agree with me? I think people are and tell me if this is for you. I think people are spending more time at home. I think, and people said stripper pole. You want a stripper pole? Stripper pole could be in there. It doesn't matter. It's what you want. It's a module. It's a module. Who said that? Rant and Raving says, I'm in the middle of renovation now and I'm doing that. See, you do it anyway. When you think about it, you do it anyway. You get into your house, you buy your house. It's kind of just whatever it is. Maybe you buy a track home, right? And then you, later on, you decide, oh, I want this and I want this. Well, don't wait for later on. If you're going to buy a home, see, somebody says because they lack funding or whatever to travel, you're staying home. I think people are staying home. And I'm not teasing you. There is no reason in your homes that when you go buy a new home, number one, these prices have to come down. That you can't have exactly what you want because these things can be adjusted on a modular basis. So even if it's standing there and you've got that extra bedroom, but you want to turn it into your lifestyle, you can do it. Now, let me ask you one more question. Remember when you got your very first home, and this is just me, I want to see feedback. I'm watching all the different chats and all the different screens, right? Or like a movie room, but it's a sleepover room. Think of your regular movie room and you got the big screen or projector and you've got your whatever chairs and your wall looks like it's baffled, for your theater. But what if out of the wall folded 4 Murphy beds? Didn't obstruct any view, but if you got kids, they can have sleepovers and they're just in the movie room and every room's soundproof. Would you do that? What if your home could be EMF automatically shielded? See, a lot of people saying, well, hey, we converted a bedroom to a media room. You can do this right up front. And I'm just exploring it, just exploring what it is. I got one more question for you. Remember when you bought your first house and you had this house rich, furniture poor? So I'm dropping an idea on you. Tell me what you think. What if part of a house, a starter house, your new house, is you could choose every finish, every fitting, and I'm not talking about wall colors. I'm talking about every single towel, napkin, plate, table, couch, chair, and it all came with the house. It's just part of your standard house payment, and that house payment was greatly reduced. Would you do that? I'm just kind of taking a few polls here. You could buy a house, right? Some people say, no, I like shopping for that. But what if you could? What if you could? What if new people starting out did it? See, I'm concerned. I guess I bought my first house when I was 20 or 21. I got my first house. But when you look at most people's starter house, most people starting out, they just don't have, the various things and stuff. So what if you could consider that? You drive these prices down, but it just, here it is, fully furnished, a way to go, and boom, you're starting. You ever thought about it? And here's my concern. Tell me what age you were. I want to put this in chat, and I want to see, tell me what age you were when you bought your house, because I'm watching a disturbing trend. Most people, 20 years past, 30 years past, or whatever, right? You're right. So you could have everything for convenience, everything matches, you pick it out in advance, and it's boom. Okay, so most people buy their houses in their 20s. Mid to late 20s was about 40 years ago. Do you know right now, a lot of people saying 36, 25, 36. Oh, no. Yeah, it actually came up that way. 22. I want you to think about something. You know what the trend is right now? People aren't able to get into their first starter home until they're almost 40. That's disturbing. And it's all about affordability, but that's disturbing. Everything's changed. And so it bugs me. It bugs me. And I'm setting out to figure out how to change it. And so all I'm doing is just giving you a peek, the things I'm thinking about. What makes, we got to bring these prices down. And I think you've got to be able to own your home less than you can rent. And it's got to be by far than you can rent. But if you look at people's kids, they're not able to buy homes. And it basically disturbs the hell out of me. And I'm only kind of giving you an input to my development mind and things I work on. It disturbs me that some of these kids, to shun this, are going to tiny homes. Well, what they'll do is they'll turn around and buy a house on wheels and think they're doing something great. And I've seen these kids spend $300, $400, $500 per square foot. But because it's on a 600-foot chassis or whatever, right? Set or less, they think they're doing something great. And then, did you know right now in that tiny home rehab, right? 0 resale. The highest we found researching this for these kids that are buying the tiny homes, and it doesn't matter if they're one day in or whatever, and I think you give up your lifestyle to do that, right? 0 resale. The highest we found anywhere, and one that was actually lived in and resold, is about 30 cents on the dollar it was built for. And by the way, it doesn't even matter if you lived in it, you just drove it off the lot. Okay, last thing. Ready? What if you could get your 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath house and we absolutely locked it where if you come up with only a $20,000 down payment, and we're talking a true home, right? We're not talking bullshit. Not mobile, not even modular, right? Let me see if I got a picture. I'll show you something. Let me see where I'm going to get it. Hang on. Here. And again, I'm just picking your brain, okay? I'm picking your brain. Let's see. Pictures. Let me see if I can find it here. Okay, I'm going to show you a house. How many square feet? 2,000. 2,000 square feet. You with me? 2,000 square feet. It's actually a little bit more. Hang on, I don't know if it's my eyebrows growing or whatever. So get ready. Okay? You get 3 bedrooms, 3.5 bath. Because I look at what kids are doing. And it's upsetting. Y'all know of this, laid this on my heart for a long time, but I look at what kids are doing. Okay? And they're trying to buy a home and have it be cheap. Here's what they're doing. Would you call that a house? Answer honestly. See, I wouldn't call that a house. But this is what our kids are forced to deal with. This is what our kids are forced to deal with. Little bitty tiny box, and they put a big awning over it, whatever. You know, yeah, it's a Lowe's Homes or a manufactured home, but kids are paying, ironically, $150,000 for this. And I just think that's ridiculous. Okay? And some of us have lived in worse. Temporary shelter at best. Now let me change the thing. What if you could get a 3-bedroom, 3.5 bath, right? Two-story, custom home, and you're right, this is highway robbery. It's bullshit. No resale value. Yeah, it's a Norway guest room. Now let me show you what I want to deliver for $200,000. Why are people posting movie links in my program? Let me tell you what I do to people doing movie links in my program. Bye-bye forever. Okay. $200,000. You now know what you get. But your down payment, you're in if you come up with $20,000 down. Ready? Would you do it? What if you could do that? You get regular lot size and everything else. Your lots aren't trimmed on. But would you do that? I hate to see people living in this. I hate to see people living in this. People need real houses. And it's nuts what people are paying, what our kids are paying for houses. So this has to be solved. Anyway, thanks for your feedback. You gave me some interesting feedback, right? So I appreciate that. I'll get started with the program. Anyway, today's program is brought to you by the fine folks at Goldco. Here's what I'm asking you to do. I'm just asking you to go to jovanlovesgold.com. That's it, jovanlovesgold.com. I'm asking you to request your free gold and silver kit today because now is the time to protect your money with gold and silver. Yes, you've got to do it. Something digital is coming, folks. I'm just telling you it's coming. By the way, since it's that time of the year as well, remember one good gift this type of season for your family is, give them food security. Plan, Plan, and then plant. You got something that can feed your family for decades. I am so against this eating bug shit. I am so against this. You'll own nothing and love it. And I am so against everything's going to happen that you're going to rent. And I am hell bent figuring out how to fix that. We can't do that. We let that happen to ourselves. We're gone. Okay, you probably heard the news. Marjorie Taylor Greene has resigned. Yes. She's resigned. We're going to talk about it. Share this. Let's get started.
Warning. The following program has been rated Gilligaff and is intended for open-minded audiences. If the truth offends you, or if you are allergic to focused intensity, intellectual athleticism, or the occasional F-bomb or even irreverent humor, please switch off now. If your delicate sensibilities need to be worried about or addressed, might we recommend the Underwater Basket Weaving channel to you? Otherwise, sit back, enjoy the wisdom, insight, and wicked sense of humor.
Cut the crap. How many times a day do you want to say that to politicians, the elite, the loony liberals, the fake news media, and the gender-confused, emotional socialist snowflake crowd? Cut the crap is your secret weapon for fighting for our freedoms and our great republic. It all begins with a massive mental enema, freeing you from the toxic news and politically correct views, which constipate your consciousness with stinking thinking. Your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer. He's known for calling out politicians and telling them to cut the crap. You've seen him on virtually every television network and listened to him on Coast to Coast Radio. And now he's here to help you learn to fight for America. Culture, race, and American politics. They all have one thing in common. They all need to cut the crap. Now, here's your host, Jovan Hutton Pulitzer.
Okay, guys, here's what the breaking news is going on, that Marjorie Taylor Greene has resigned. And people are talking about significant battles going on within MAGA. Now, because we have all this chaos, right? It's hard to tell what's going on. Is this 3D chess? Is this double D chess? Whatever it is, right? What the hell is going on? Now, some people say it is because the MAGA movement is falling apart. Not that this is an expert I'm going to show you first, but here's some of the chatter.
Here's some tea for you. MTG, people are like, oh my God, she's saying all of these things. Like, what's gotten into her lately? Oh, like she's bucking against Trump. She's bucking against the administration. Marjorie Taylor Greene wanted to run for Senate in Georgia. She wanted to run for Senate earlier this year in the state of Georgia. She wanted to be the Republican nominee for Senate. So she was gearing up for that statewide race, and Trump told her no. Trump said no. And the White House and Trump land shut down Marjorie Taylor Greene's personal ambitions to run for Senate. And she has been on a revenge tour ever since.
Some people do call it a revenge tour. The word on the street is she did want to run for Senate. President Trump said not supporting it. And then all of a sudden, she appears on CNN, MS Now. By the way, remember, it's not MSNBC anymore. It's MS Now. And all these other places she started. So some people are saying she's a woman scorned. She didn't get her way. None of us really know the answer. All we can do is kind of guess. Some people say, I love her. She's great. Some people say, something's wrong. But what is it? Did she jump ship? What do you think? Did she jump ship? Now, most people dug her because she would call it, just like President Trump, in many ways, she'd call it like it is.
Can you tell me why so many people that support Donald Trump love conspiracy theories, including yourself? He seems to attract lots of conspiracy theorists.
Well, let me tell you, you're a conspiracy theorist, and the left and the media spreads more conspiracy theories. We like the truth. We like supporting our Constitution, our freedoms, and America first. So,
what about Jewish space lasers? Tell us about Jewish space lasers.
Why don't you go talk about Jewish space lasers? And really, why don't you fuck off? How about that?
Thanks. Thank you very much.
So people love her. She called it like it is. All transparency. I know MTG. I've spent some time with her. We follow each other on Twitter. I've interacted with her at the White House when she's there. But many people have always appreciated her direct, no bullshit style. That's a good thing. Recently, you've seen people questioning her, such as
a conservative and as a business owner in the construction industry and as a realist, I can say we have to do something about labor, and that needs to be a smarter plan than just rounding up every single person and deporting them just like that.
Right.
So, and I'm going to get pushback on that, but I'm just living in reality from here on out.
Yeah.
And if anybody's mad at me for saying the truth, then I'm sorry.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, ladies and gentlemen, our next president. Sorry, JD Vance. Well, I mean, there's people are saying it. I go to dinner parties.
Yeah, I heard you.
Well, by the way,
I heard you on Joe Rogan.
question. And I only question because he said that. Are we seeing a play here that is some people don't trust Vance? Right? When Roseanne asked me the other day about Vance, I said, I don't know what to think about Vance. I haven't come down on my final decision. I see him agreeing with President Trump when President Trump is tough, but I can't get over the things he used to say about President Trump that were like Mitch McConnell-like. So I don't know. Are we seeing some sort of play here where she's orchestratedly bowing out of politics and maybe she pops up as Vance's VP? What do you think about that? Put that in chat. Are we seeing a play here? Are we seeing a play here where she's letting things cool down and maybe she's going to try to pop up, right? Hey, Matt, the WTG wants to know, who's this Jew? Interesting question. So, where are you? Matt, I love talking to people about the Jews. So, Matt, I sent you a link. Let's see who you are. And by the way, you can, if you want, what the hell's going on? Talk to this Jew. Could it be me? Which Jew are you talking about? So come on, we'll talk. I know. We don't have to compare swords because I know mine lays out across the rooms and yours a little beanie sausage, but we can talk about it. If you want to talk to a Jew, who's this Jew? Let's talk, because that may be part of this. Right? Isn't it funny? It's what I was talking about with Roseanne. Everything now is blamed on the Jews. Yes, the correct spelling of my name is Jovan. Some call it Juvain. You can call me whatever you want, right? But if you'd like to come on and get introduced to a Jew, come on, Matt. Yeah. But have you ever noticed how everything, it doesn't matter what it is now, it's the Jews' fault? It's the Jews. So let me ask you a question. Marjorie Taylor Greene took a lot of heat saying that we need the illegals in the country for construction. So where do you come down on this? Put it in chat. Where do you come down on this? Is all the illegals got to go? Or do we need illegals because we need lawn maintenance and crop picking and construction and whatever? Some of you saying, get the fuck out. Bye-bye. One said, everybody except my gardener. That's my question. MAGA got pissed at that statement she said about illegals, right? Do they go or do they stay? Do they go or do they stay? Some people are saying she's making, that's not an American first statement. You're right. Most people are saying they have to go. See, I think the system made us dependent upon them. And a full disclosure, right? A full freaking disclosure. I have zero problem with a legally here immigrant. Same way my mother came and my grandmother. I have no problem with that. I'm only first generation America. But if you watch what's going on, which is very true, the system has trapped us. And most people don't realize how we got trapped. I'll give you an example. President Trump's catching a lot of crap right now, saying we have to have enough green cards to bring in the technology talent into our country because we don't have it. And he's right. Remember, I did a program on this, 5 years ago? I've done it a few times since then. China puts through in their system STEM, S-T-E-M, science, technology, engineering, and math, puts through their systems about 4 million qualified degrees in science. It's called STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. The United States of America puts through the system, all the way through the system, less than 40,000. The United States of America primarily turns out liberal arts degree. You study poetry and gender studies and African sensibilities or whatever the hell it is, or, lesbian, gay sensibilities. Do you understand that's part of the raping of America? You can look these numbers up on yourself. Part of the conquering of America is this bullshit of a liberal arts degree. No offense if you have a liberal arts degree, you didn't know better. But we don't teach our kids crap. Now, as you look at it, this stuff that started primarily in the early 80s, the switchover, we don't have the talent. We do not. I can tell you firsthand. Joe, I was wondering why I found a Levi's button in your booty hole. Now I know why. You got raped with your pants on. It makes sense now. What's that? It's a button. But think about that. See, this is bigger than even people think about, is because we were sold a BS ticket in education. We're not turning out. I would, in a heartbeat, myself, in a heartbeat, I would change our school systems, and I would, of course, bring back government and basic accounting and true American history. I'd bring it back, right? Oh, it's just a rivet, Joe? Okay, well, that's better then. I would bring back, and if I could redo high school, I'd make all our high schools STEM-oriented, period. And 1 year of high school would be mandatory trades. Did you go to school when you had shop class or auto shop or welding shop? We need to teach why we're a great country. We need to teach financial common sense, the laws, and skills. A lot of us had the benefit, but if I could wave a magic wand right now, right freaking now, we go STEM oriented, we go nation centric, and you've got mandatory 1 year of trades. You know what else I'm for? Just like Israel. No. Mandatory military service. Yeah, kids don't even know how to balance a budget. But I would do it. We're getting our asses kicked in technology. I would make every school a VOTEC school. Every school. I would make trade schools a thing. And I would make, you got to serve 2 years in the military. Doesn't mean you go into battle. It's another 2 years of trade school if you want to know about it. Right? You might get assigned to a vehicle detail, but I'd do it in a heartbeat. Right? In Finland, many countries have it. You have mandatory service. They softened us. They kill us. Now, people, Marjorie Taylor agreed, well, we can't live without the, you're right, you learn a trade in the service. We can't do without the illegals. Here's the deal. In my family, in ranching, we always had illegals. We always had Mexicans. And they worked their ass off. And I loved them. And I loved their families. And I watched generations being raised of people that just want a better life. And they're sending their money back to their parents and stuff, trying to do it. I have no problem with seasonal workers, as long as we keep track of them. But see, that's not what they did. They flooded it. They flooded it. And you're right, mandatory is not a republic. I got it. I'm just, look, we're future tripping a bit here. Don't get all technical on me. I'm future tripping a bit. If I could wave a wand, I would do it, because we got to save our nation. We have to save our nation. And so for me, I understand illegals, but you can't put them on the fucking voter rolls. You got to earn your right. You got to earn your right to vote if you're from a different country. I'll give you an example. I don't think you should be able to come from a foreign country illegally in the first place. My family didn't do it. They didn't get money and welfare and shit. But I do believe if you want to come to this country from a shit country, again, I'd put them in the military. Earn your citizenship and your right to vote by a mandatory 2 or 3 years in the United States military. So when I daydream, when I'm tooling down the road, crisscrossing in this country, or even working on the farm, I daydream about, man, what would I do if I could take $1 billion and set it aside and do this, right? I'd tell you what I'd do. But I'm going to tell you something. What I'm about to tell you, states won't allow. But I would go into poor neighborhoods or homeless or whatever. We've talked about this before, and I'll keep this really short. But I'd go buy up 1,000 acres of land. I'd put all kinds of housing and schooling on it. And everybody gets a great education. You're growing food. We've talked about this before. You're growing the food and raising the stuff you eat. None of this factory food bullshit. And the parents and or the kids are taught a trade. And you're going to be there. Let's say you're going to be in that system for 2 years. But what you're going to come out with is kids that are trained, we'll say, in computer skills and social skills, and have worked farm, growing food, whatever. They got duties, they got chores, everything's self-supplied at this, and the parents have been given a brand new trade. They've earned money while they're there, and that money is set aside because you're providing everything for them. So the money that they earn there, because you got to give them something, is put into an account. And when they're ready to graduate out of the system, not only do they have a trade, they can fucking support themselves and have the down payments and or whatever they need. And they can be good for a year as they adjust. That's what we should be doing. See, we're creating people that live on welfare. We're not taking people that need some welfare and teaching them how to live. Do you understand what I'm saying? I guess Matt didn't want to talk to a Jew. Come on, Matt, talk to me. Anyway, you understand what I'm saying? This is the way it should be done. But you do know, even if I plop down $1 billion to do this, I can't. Did you know cities and states and counties will not allow that? And it would fall under, you can't control their food, you can't make them work, and it would be cruel and unusual punishment. Even if I wanted to personally fund that, it would be illegal. I want you to think about that. Wouldn't be illegal in other countries. But in the United States, it would be illegal because we create dependence. And yes, I kind of described an Amish community, if you want to know the truth, but there's a lot to learn there. But what you put out is a productive trade. I can live, I can survive, I can feed myself, and I have a valuable skill human. But our system doesn't. Now, what this does is this creates a system that when somebody says we need the illegals or we won't have jobs, you got to understand Marjorie Taylor Greene's construction company with her ex-husband, she still owns part of, I think is valued at about $25 million today, depends on them. We no longer as a country put out productive citizens. Your parents, depending upon your age, taught you how to be a responsible, ethical, moral, productive citizen. That's even removed. You know what the rig is? That's what set us up. That's why they flooded in illegals. And that's why a system, oh, you don't have a college degree? You're not worth anything. Well, what the fuck are these kids doing with these college degrees today? Great, you came out with a freaking liberal arts degree and you're a barista. You're finding we're not employable anymore. Yes, we should deport the illegals. But the system has made us outsource everything. And a good example in this shutdown, they didn't stick with their guns on the shutdown because the system has trained so many people to suck on the tit. And when enough people scream, right? Okay, well, we can't do this shutdown the way we wanted to do it. Yes, there were some things that came from it, but I want you to understand that's cloaked servitude. It's cloaked servitude. You don't even realize you're in slavery. But as America in a whole, there are so few people that are employable. I'll get off this bucket and get back to MTG. But some say this is what got her in a poop storm.
As a conservative and as a business owner in the construction industry and as a realist, I can say we have to do something about labor, and that needs to be a smarter plan than just rounding up every single person and deporting them just like that.
Right.
So, and I'm going to get pushback on that, but it's,
Yeah.
I'm just living in reality from here on out.
Yeah.
And if anybody's mad at me for saying the truth, then I'm sorry.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, ladies and gentlemen, our next president. Sorry, JD Vance. Well, I mean, there's people are saying it. I go to dinner parties.
Yeah, I heard you.
Well, by the way,
I heard you on Joe Rogan.
So, North Carolina, November girl. Are you a December baby, sweetheart? No. I thought that was 1207. Anyway, says Charlotte is almost a ghost town because of illegals have fled. I'm glad you said that in chat. Do you know why I'm glad you said that in chat? Because recently I got information that ICE was conducting a raid going to the schools in Charlotte, having a connection to somebody there in a class, and, you know, in the grades, they had like supposedly 500 plus student in one of the grades, let's just say at 10th grade, hypothetically. When the school put out that ICE was going to be there, the next day in that same grade level, there were only like 242 students. What does that tell you? You're right, North Carolina, November girl. You're right. The schools are empty. What does that tell you? And the only common denominator was ISIS in town rounding people up. What does that tell you about what's happened? So is Marjorie Taylor Greene right? We have to have the illegals? You know, when she came into Congress or Senate or whatever, Congress, some say her net worth was about 700,000. Now it's in excess of 25 million. Who knows? I don't know. And I don't care. But is she right? We now have to have illegals? I can tell you there are some towns in Appalachia, you can't even get people to apply for jobs. All people. You can't get people to apply for jobs. Do you know why? because they got on welfare through COVID and it pays too much. Get ready for this. In Appalachia, in most of the small towns and areas, you can't hire anybody, even if your job's paying $20 an hour, just to stand and look at the grass. People won't even apply. I want you to think about that. They won't even apply. And Caesar, you're right. Growing up in the Appalachia, you're taught you don't depend on the freaking government, and you shouldn't. But they got there. And when they got people through COVID on welfare, because you couldn't go to work if you wanted to, they got you hooked on the check. And now the kids are so strung and drugged out and methed out and fentanyled out, they can't do it. During the cleanup of the hurricane, and they're trying to give people jobs to help clean up, you could even pay, right, $20 an hour, and all you're going to be doing is picking up trash. Now think about how the area was devastated. We all went through it together. And we're trying to pay unskilled labor, help with the cleanup. All you're going to be doing is moving small trash. That's it. We're not talking moving rocks. We're not talking rebuilding roads. $20 an hour. You'll be, paid like a contract worker, and you'll be fed lunch during the day. The ones you could get to show up for $20 an hour ultimately ended up not working. You want to know why? Because when they showed up, they were asked, okay, well, we need a copy of your driver's license, right? Because this all has to be tracked. As soon as you said a copy of their driver's license, they were gone. Do you know why? Because almost all of them had been suspended for outstanding warrants, drug use, and all kinds of shit. This is what's going on in America. You're right. Tough Rider says independent contractor can't find sober white people to do labor work. There you go. You cannot find sober white people to do labor work. So you see the conundrum we're in? So some people say Marjorie Taylor Greene turned on America because she said, hell no, we need the illegals. And of course, they started making memes about it.
So, let me show y'all why Trump had been pissing me off lately.
Yes, this is AI, and it's pretty damn good.
So, let me show y'all why Trump had been pissing me off lately. Them motherfuckers about to go up in price, let me tell you. It's prime grade of workers. Now I gotta pay triple for my labor when these damn Mexicans been doing it for fries, beans, and tortillas. And y'all mad at me for trying to save a dime.
Yeah, she's taking hits. All the parodies are abundant.
I love attention, it's the life I choose. I play the victim while attacking the Jews. I roll the dice and now I lose. Ranting lunatic Marjorie.
I think that somebody like her could take the whole thing down.
I could have been a patriot. I could have gone far. Now everybody hates me on CNN. I'll be a star. So to be living out of my car, ranting lunatic Marjorie.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think you need to take out the crowd.
Run, Brian. Run away.
Let me tell you what a traitor is.
Tell you what, 6 months in, Steve, and here we are turning back on the campaign promises, and we bombed Iran on behalf of Israel. Yes, it was on behalf of Israel.
A traitor is an American that serves foreign countries. Campaigned all over the country, spent millions of my own dollars helping him get elected. Patriot. as an American that serves the United States of America.
Spent millions of my own dollars helping him get elected.
World War III, because the entire world is going to erupt. And you want to know the people that are cheering it on right now? Their tune is going to drastically change the minute we start seeing flag-draped coffins on the nightly news, on Fox News that brainwashes all the baby boomers, and on CNN that brainwashes all the Democrat baby boomers. And that is exactly how this is going to go down.
And I gave him my loyalty for free.
He spent millions of my own dollars helping him get elected.
And I gave him my loyalty for free.
Now the question. There's a lot of truths in there. Sentiments just like you think. We shouldn't go to war. We shouldn't have done the freaking Ukraine. Yes, we've got to deport all the people. But what's going on? Where's the real change? Some people are saying she's just a Democrat. Some are saying she's another pawn. Do you think our country bombed Iran for Israel? Put it in chat. Do you think our country bombed bombed Iran on behalf of Israel? What was it? Did we send in our bombers on behalf of Israel, or did we send in bombers on behalf of our nation? Did we send in bombers on behalf of the world? What happened? So you got to connect it all together. Obama, in the darkness of night, flew in an ungodly amount of cash in planes, and they kept on ignoring Iran building nukes. I want to let you know something. Iran's building nukes to specifically destroy Israel. Just think about this for a moment. So some can say, well, we bombed them to keep Israel safe. Is that really what it is? You do realize a nuke-ready Iran is part of the design. And yes, they will use it immediately on Israel. But how does that affect us? Israel keeps that shit at bay on that side of the world. Sometimes people don't think about that. Israel keeps that shit at bay on the other side of the world. We would be in even more shit if we just looked at this strategically and realized we didn't have that. So we're kind of tied at the hip. It's just like I told Roseanne. You do understand, if they cleave America from Israel, that is the final biggest step in ending Christianity. Right. Israel goes down, we go down. But yet everybody, even lawmakers, it's Israel, it's the Jews, and you don't even understand it. People don't even know their history. When Muhammad came up as a prophet and came out with his version of the prophecies and added to him way back in the 400s, right? People don't even know in that part of the world, he actually went to the Jews and others and said, people don't know this. I am the one true prophet. I am now over and above Jesus. You must accept me as the one true prophet, and this is the one true truth. And that will in fact make you a Muslim. Which is why Abraham, Jew, everything else, first of the covenant, they claim Abraham was Muslim, which is not true. So you've got to understand this geopolitically. It isn't about Israel, baby. It's about us as a Christian nation. It's about all Western Christendom. Have you ever thought about in England, you can't pray outside of an abortion clinic? They will immediately arrest you and throw you in jail, but you can be a Muslim on the streets and recruit people to Islam. Pray in public. Invoke Jesus' name in public. Preach in public as a Christian. In the UK, you are arrested. You serve time. Call out the Muslims on Facebook and stuff. You serve time. However, the Muslims can stop and pray in the streets. They've begun to enact Sharia law. And if you speak out against the Muslims, you're going to jail. And they can recruit people to Islam on the streets. You're right. Even silent prayer, just the fact I was being silent and you acknowledge you were in prayer, you're arrested. Now you understand. I mean, I don't see why people don't understand this. All of this, it's not Jews, it's the dirty, filthy Jew. Yeah, Matt, where the fuck did you go? Come on and talk about it, because your mind has been hijacked. And by the way, you're working for the enemy, and that's how they did it here. And people don't understand it. But people say she's constantly bringing truth and talking about the things that need to be talked about. Here's an example.
I think people deserve to know the truth about it.
There was a hearing recently, right? Both of them are in the movie. Yeah. And a lot more came out. And there's a lot more people who are on board now. Very, very serious people.
I think it's a serious issue. Yeah, I'd love to know more about it, but we're not told anything about it.
In the film, one of the senior intelligence officials named Jay Stratton, he was the director of air and space warfare at the Defense Intelligence Agency, and then he ran the U.S. government's UAP task force. He tells a story about how he was trying to run this issue up the flagpole and bring attention to it.
At the Pentagon.
At the Pentagon, in a serious office space. And his superiors told him that they thought these things were demons and that he was doing the devil's work by looking into it. And on camera in the film, he says, I can't believe these words were coming out of their mouths. He's like, I'm briefing them on an advanced aerospace vehicle that's absolutely there. It's been spotted by trained observers like our Navy fighter pilots in their $80 million airplanes that we trust them with, right? It's been spotted on data collection systems like satellite and radar. And this guy's telling me it's a demon. It's insane. And he's like, my mind was blown, and this is something I'm dealing with inside of the government.
It's Halloween. Let me just ask the final question for the panel. Do you think demons and the devil are real?
Absolutely. I'm a Bible-believing Christian. I definitely, and I believe those could be fallen angels.
All these things could be real.
Fallen angels?
Yeah,
The aliens are fallen angels.
That's possible. I think that's what they could be. That's what makes sense in my worldview.
What do you think? Could be fallen angels. Right? Could be fallen angels. Now, another person that's woefully ill-informed, but I'm glad you're here, right? Nuke Nomad. Can you read the New Testament out loud on a corner in Jerusalem? First off, what's the newest word you call somebody to say you're an undesirable? What's the newest? It used to be homophobe, transphobe. What's the newest word that they are using online to call people a word and shame them? What is it? No, new word. Infidel's an old word. What's the newest word that has come up in recent times? If you want to try to shut somebody up, you're close. They don't call somebody Jewish. What do they call them now? Well, pedophile, but that's a realization. What's the new? Not Islamophobe. There's one other word. Zionist is the new dirty word. Zionist, you're just a Zionist. Well, Nuke Nomad says, well, can you even read a New Testament, right? Can you read a New Testament in Jerusalem? Well, the answer is yes. You've been told it's outlawed. But let me ask you a question, Nuke Nomad. Do you know your history? Just a question. Do you know your history? Quite possibly you don't. Because, see, you mentioned Jerusalem. You do understand that when the Muslims conquered the Second Temple, they took over Jerusalem. And so it's interesting, your choice of the words of Jerusalem. Now, I kind of think that you probably meant it as a Jewish insult. If I'm wrong, tell me in chat. But you know why you can't read the New Testament out loud at Temple Mount? Haram el-Sharif errors? Because it'll call the, how do they say it? Waqif? W-A-Q-F, Waqif? Because it's Muslim controlled, not because it's Jewish controlled. But yeah, people will tell you that the Jews won't let you read the New Testament. But see how people will immediately equate it with the Jews? Because you actually think that Jewish or Jerusalem, the ancient city that was conquered by the Muslims and taken over, and why do you have a mosque on Temple Mount? You probably don't even know why Jews wail at the Wailing Wall. Why do you stand at the wall and wail? Because that was our fucking temple. You took it. So the most sacred site in Judaism, you cannot even go up to and visit because it's Muslim controlled. The only laws that are there in the regular streets anywhere is you can't block traffic. We kind of should have the same thing here. We do have the same thing here. They just don't enforce it. And if you're going to use a loudspeaker to do it, yes, you have to have a permit. Same thing here. Okay, but you understand what I'm saying? People don't even know their freaking history. And you get manipulated in your mind, crapped in your cranium, why I do this program, to think it's the Jews. To think it's the Jews. Golden Lady 8 says, Jews cannot even go into the city of David now either. I prayed at the Western Wall last month. God bless you. But you understand what I'm saying? Kitty, what do I need to see? Nuke Nomad, just put again. Can you read the Old Testament aloud in Jerusalem? So Nuke Nomad, so you're a bot? Because all you did is post the same fucking thing again and again and again. So Nuke Nomad, because you're pasting that, I know you're a fucking bot. Bye-bye, bitch. See how stupid that is? And it's all misinformation. You see it in chat. people will actually see that something in chat. Well, the Jews in Jerusalem, you can't even read the New Testament. You see that? That was a bot. But you see that? So I nuked. But think about that. The new word that we've all been given as a hate word, you're a Zionist. And you can't even see it that it's an attack. Now, this is the conundrum. The conundrum is some people are saying, well, Marjorie Taylor Greene is a Jew. It's the Jews did it. She spoke out against the Jews. They have to get rid of it. That's a fucking con, folks. Why don't you just scream at what it is? They're trying to take over and control the world. But the they isn't Jews. The they could be Muslims, right? But people don't know their history. Well, the Jews do it. No. Do you know that Jewish religion, to become a Jew, anybody in the world can become a Jew? Did you know that? Black, brown, yellow, gay, straight, any country in the world. If you want to convert to Judaism, you can. Just like Christianity. Can you convert to Christianity in a Muslim world and be okay? No. It's against the law. Why don't people think about that? Oh, so Montana, did you read up on that Finnish history? God blessed the Finnish people. You should be proud of that. But think about that. You can't. And people can't see that deception. Yes, we're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene resigning, and I'm going to show you her resignation speech. But it should be clear as day to you where the control comes from. I showed you the UK before the bot came in. The UK, if you're praying silently or out loud, you're going to jail. But the Muslims can recruit in the street. If you're not a Muslim, you're an infidel, you can be killed. And simple people just don't even know this. Althorby says, the Jewish God. Now, you typed in all small letters. You typed God with a small g at the B. Okay. So, Albie, are you using small g for God in Rumble? Intentionally clarify that for me. Or come on, let's discuss it. Where it is, or the Jewish God. Let's say they come from the same place. I got the chat's moving so fast I can't see it. Just qualify it for me in there. You did. You intentionally put the Jewish God. Okay. Meaning that if you pray to the Jewish God, you pray to the enemy. Let me just make sure I understand what you're saying. Okay. Okay. It's the same religion. Help me understand what you're saying. Muslims and Jews all pray to the same God. Is that the point you're saying? And are you saying that the Jewish God is small g? Help me understand, because I'll give you the platform. He said Muslim is Jewish. You're literally correct. You're literally correct. Muslims and the Muslim ideology and religion comes from Abraham, just like your Christian religion, just like your Jewish religion, okay? Christians and Jews have the same gods. Muslim do not. It's a nuance. The God of Muslims, in their term Allah, why they don't call it God, that's a literal kind of a bit of a twist. But for them, it's more about the Prophet Muhammad. And if you look at the split in the Muslim world between Shia and Sunni, the two, right? Shia and Sunnis, okay? The only difference in why they kill each other is one believes that Muhammad is the prophet and the others believe, no, it's Muhammad's uncle. And they kill each other over that. Why do I even bring that up? It's about 70% truth in all psychological warfare and 30% bullshit psyop. Get it? And yes, they still call Jesus in Islam a prophet. They have to acknowledge he is a prophet. They just say Muhammad is the greatest prophet of all time. Right? It's really minor changes to get you to go off somewhere. But it's all about your head. If you don't know the facts, you can be hijacked. Right? Don't know the facts, you can be hijacked. By the way, anybody can make you believe something numerically. Well, you do this, you convert it to a number, you do the math, you do this, and here's what it is, and that's why it's bad. That's it. Right? That's it. What you should learn about all of this is it's a war, just like Marjorie Taylor Greene we're just seeing, right? They got us looking at aliens. They got us looking at this. They got us saying, hey, illegals are bad, illegals are good. Don't you understand all of it? It's psychological warfare. And right now, if you look, I caught so much flack with my discussion last night with Roseanne because I tell Christians, look, whether you like it or not, you're Jewish. You're a daughter of Israel. And you just need to understand the subtle differences. But we're all in this boat together. And people went ape shit. Now, somebody said everybody was Jewish until they killed Jesus. Not correct. Everybody was Jewish almost 200 years after Jesus, truthfully, before a subtle distinction of you're a Christian. Then that started to take hold, and then you didn't become a bona fide Christian until the year 435. That's the actual truth. And Christian was accepted as this is the faith you're going to practice, this is the faith you must practice, and your Sabbath is Sunday. That happened in the 400s. Okay? That happened in the 400s. That's why there's so much controversy. And that's, again, like right now, not teaching history to our kids got us into a system that turns out our kids to be liberals with a liberal arts degree. Okay? Let's continue with Marjorie Taylor Greene. You saw her on Aliens. Don't know where you believe. I got a couple more things to show you. Then I'm going to show you her departing speech.
I stood with President Trump when virtually no one else did. Campaigned all over the country, spent millions of my own dollars helping him get elected. And I think that's incredibly important. And I do support him and his administration. And I support them in delivering the campaign promises we made to the American people. His remarks, of course, have been hurtful. However, I have something in my heart that I think is incredibly important for our country, and that is to end the toxic fighting in politics. And this has been going on for years, and it has divided our country, split up friends and families, neighbors, and it's not solving our problems. The most hurtful thing he said, which is absolutely untrue, is he called me a traitor, and that is so extremely wrong. And those are the types of words used that can radicalize people against me and put my life in danger.
What do you think happened? What do you think is the reason for this?
Unfortunately, it has all come down to the Epstein files, and that is shocking. And, you know, I stand with these women. I stand with rape victims. I stand with children who are in terrible sex abuse situations. And I stand with survivors of trafficking and those that are trapped in sex trafficking. And I will not apologize for that. I believe the country deserves transparency in these files. And I don't believe that rich, powerful people should be protected if they have done anything wrong. And so I'm standing with the women, and I will continue to do my small part to get the files released.
Some people said that was an issue. Some people say this is an issue.
No.
Do you a lot of people say you're the heir to the real MAGA and JD Vance is not.
Wow.
A lot of people say that.
Who's saying that?
A lot of people.
That's interesting.
There are people that are saying that. There are people that are saying that.
I like JD.
I like him too. But there are people that are saying that.
What do they mean by that?
They mean that they hear what you say and they gravitate more towards that. And they think that is emblematic of what the MAGA coalition, love it, hate it, whatever, stood for. And that they feel that you have carved out a space where they felt MAGA was about being an outsider. And they feel that you embody that more than he does.
Well, he's vice president.
Right.
Which is a hard role.
Sure.
I mean, that's a very hard role. I think MAGA is about.
Does that surprise you that people are saying that?
Yes, it does. Yeah.
Really?
I haven't heard that, but I've been up here mad at health insurance all week.
But that's why they're saying it.
Well, then.
Because you're getting mad at health insurance. You're getting mad at things that affect them. And, you know,
Well,
I like JD. I'm not saying.
No, I love JD, but I'm mad about a lot of things, and I'm not going to stop talking about it. And I'm not going to stop finding solutions for it. I'm mad at education in this country.
Of course.
I as a conservative, I want to defund it, but at the same time, I want to
get people.
I want to rebuild it. I want to go back to the classics and us to have the best reading and math levels, and I want high schoolers to graduate with like being an electrician or a plumber or a welder or whatever it is. I want them to have real life skills when they.
Interesting. You just heard me say that. I believe the same things. So what's all the disconnect? What's really going on? Interesting, isn't it? By the way, we had somebody come in called, was it Tommy Kaiser? Can't you think of better names? Said, tell the Jew to shut up, meaning talking to me. I sent him a link saying, come on, I'll talk to you. By the way, something I am interested in, and I'm going to show you Marjorie Taylor Greene's parting speech. But the question is, do you think she's the heir apparent to MAGA? She's saying a lot of things MAGA is hardcore on. Many things. I have a lot of the same views, right? But what are we watching? By the way, Alithby, am I saying that right? Alithby, who used small g for God, basically said, yes, I am European. We had gods of our own, and they were called demons. So I wonder if Jewish God might be an excuse. And then went on to say, why the hell should us in Europe take all the immigrants then? Because we are all gods of children. Hey, if you want to talk about it, I'll send you the link. I think we could have an interesting discussion. Tell us what's going on in your neck of the woods. I'm going to send you the link, right? If you're not inclined to, just reply no thanks. But it would be really interesting to get your take on the ground. And you're right. Remember, I'm only first generation American. I'm German. Germans had all kinds of gods. And do you know what? There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that. And here's the deal. It is nobody's fucking business what God or which God you worship. That's your personal choice. And that is a right. That is an absolute right. Atherby, click the link if you want to join me. Just turn on the camera and let's talk. Tell us where you're from. Let's hear what's going on the ground. But you know what, folks? Nobody has the right to decide who your God is. Nobody. Only you. Only you. And I don't think you convert to a religion, basically, if under penalty of death, you got to do it. Bullshit. Total bullshit. Right? And so that is a private choice to you and you only. And by the way, that's really the way it should be. You do understand what the number one cause of atheism is in the world, right? Do you know what the number one cause of atheism is in the world? Put it in chat if you know. The number one cause for people to adopt an atheistic view. Some people said George Soros. Some people said evil. Some people feel, no, Christianity. Yeah. The number one reason in the world that people adopt an atheistic view, meaning there is no such thing as God, is almost 100% the result of how they were treated by Christians and people pointing, you shouldn't do that. You can't do that. You can't say this. You can't do that. You can't do that. It's religious people that make people atheist. Remember, Satan wants them to be Satanist, not atheist. Let me show you Marjorie Taylor Greene's exit speech. You should only judge her by what she says. And right, for anybody, guys, I don't care about your color, your creed, your sexuality. Don't fuck with kids. But you understand what I'm saying? That's none of our business. And when the world divided us by hyphens, I watched, funny enough, there's a great documentary about Eddie Murphy on Netflix right now. You should watch it. It made me go back and watch other things. So I watched Eddie Murphy's Raw. Back then, and in interviews, people would just say black people. None of this African American shit. It was just black people. They were Americans. It was just black Americans, white Americans. It was black people, white people. But when they hyphenated us all, they turned everybody into enemies, and that was the job of the hyphen. Anyway, if I'll get a chance to watch it, you should watch it. Let me show you her exit. Some people are upset MTG is leaving. Some people are not. Some people are saying, well, she's just staying till January, till she gets her retirement. Well, she put her time in. She should be to it. It's free will. I don't think any of us have the real answers. I don't. I do have to ask are we being played a little bit? I'm just telling you, I don't know. I don't know. And nobody else reporting to you does. Right? Now, what's really upsets me is, yes, she's abandoning the House majority. And I told you something's coming before the midterms. How convenient. That part upsets me. Here's her speech.
Hi, everyone. I've always represented the common American man and woman as a member of the House of Representatives, which is why I've always been despised in Washington, D.C., and just never fit in. Americans are used by the political industrial complex of both political parties, election cycle after election cycle, in order to elect whichever side can convince Americans to hate the other side more. And the results are always the same. No matter which way the political pendulum swings, Republican or Democrat, nothing ever gets better for the common American man or woman. The debt goes higher, corporate and global interests remain Washington's sweethearts, American jobs continue to be replaced, whether it's by illegal labor or legal labor by visas or just shipped overseas. Small businesses continue to be swallowed by big corporations. Americans' hard-earned tax dollars always fund foreign wars, foreign aid, and foreign interest, and the spending power of the dollar continues to decline. The average American family can no longer survive on a single breadwinner's income, as both parents have to work in order to simply survive. And today, many in my children's generation feel hopeless for their future and don't think they will ever realize the American dream. And that breaks my heart. I ran for Congress in 2020 and have fought every single day believing that Make America Great Again meant America first. I have one of the most conservative voting records in Congress, defending the First Amendment, Second Amendment, unborn babies, because I believe God creates life at conception, and I love to fight for the little guy. Strong, safe borders, I have fought hard for that. I fought against COVID tyrannical insanity and mandated mass vaccinations, and I've never voted to fund foreign wars with your hard-earned tax dollars. However, with almost 1 year into our majority, the legislature has been mostly sidelined. We endured an 8-week shutdown, wrongly, resulting in the House not working for the entire time, and we are entering campaign season, which means all courage leaves and only safe campaign re-election mode is turned on in the House of Representatives. During the longest shutdown in our nation's history, I raged against my own speaker and my own party for refusing to proactively work diligently to pass the plan to save Americans' health care and protect Americans from outrageous, overpriced, and unaffordable health insurance policies. The House should have been in session working every day to fix this disaster. But instead, America was force-fed disgusting political drama once again from both sides of the aisle on television every single day. My bills, which reflect many of President Trump's executive orders, like calling for a new census counting Americans only to draw new districts, making English the official language of the U.S., making it a felony to medically trans a minor, and other bills like eliminating capital gains taxes on the sale of your primary home and eliminating H-1B visas, just sit. They all sit collecting dust. That's how it is for most members of Congress bills. The Speaker never brings them to the floor for a vote. Many common Americans are no longer easily convinced by paid political propaganda spokespersons and consultants on TV and paid shills on social media obediently serving with cult-like conviction to force others to swallow the political party talking points. Because they know how much credit card debt they have, they know how much their bills have gone up over the past 5 years, they actually do their own grocery shopping and know food costs too much, their rent has increasingly gone up and up, they have been outbid by corporate asset managers too many times when they put in an offer to buy a house, they have been laid off after being forced to train their Visa holding replacement, the college degree they were told to earn only left them in debt with no big six-figure salary, they see more homeless people than ever on their own community streets. They can't afford health insurance or practically any insurance, and they just aren't stupid. These are the people I represent and love because that is who all of my family and friends are, common Americans. I've been blessed to represent the 14th District of Georgia for 5 years. The district is filled with some of the most wonderful, kind-hearted, God-fearing, patriotic, hardworking people you will ever meet. Good, regular, common Americans. I've worked hard to bring taxpayer dollars back home to help district needs. I impeached Biden's Secretary of Homeland after watching my constituents die as he facilitated dangerous open border invasion into America. And I led the effort to defund hard-left politically biased NPR and PBS and the corrupt USAID, and I did that as chair of the DOJ subcommittee. I have fought harder than almost any other elected Republican to elect Donald Trump and Republicans to power. I traveled the country for years. I spent millions of my own money. I missed precious time with my family that I can never get back. And I showed up in places like outside the New York courthouse in Collect Pond Park against a raging leftist mob as Trump faced Democrat lawfare. Meanwhile, most of the establishment Republicans who secretly hate him and who stabbed him in the back and never defended him against anything have all been welcomed in right after the election. And I will never forget the day I had to leave my mother's side as my father had brain surgery to remove cancerous tumors in order to fly to Washington, D.C. to defend President Trump and vote no against the Democrats' second impeachment in 2021. My poor father and my poor mother, it was way too much for all of us. Through it all, I never changed or went back on my campaign promises and only disagreed in a few areas, like my stance against H-1Bs replacing American jobs, AI state moratoriums, debt for life 50-year mortgage scams, standing strongly against all involvement in foreign wars, and demanding the release of the Epstein files. Other than that, my voting record has been solidly with my party and the president. Loyalty should be a two-way street, and we should be able to vote our conscience and represent our district's interests because our job title is literally representative. America first should mean America first and only Americans first, with no other foreign country ever being attached to America first in our halls of government. Standing up for American women who were raped at 14 years old, trafficked and used by rich, powerful men should not result in me being called a traitor and threatened by the President of the United States, whom I fought for. However, while yes, hurtful, my heart remains filled with joy, my life is filled with happiness, and my true convictions remain unchanged because my self-worth is not defined by a man, but instead by God who created everything in existence. You see, I have never valued power, titles, or attention in spite of all the wrong assumptions about me. I do not cling to those things because they are meaningless and empty traps that hold too many people in Washington. I believe in term limits and do not think Congress should be a lifelong career or an assisted living facility. My only goal and desire has ever been to hold the Republican Party accountable for the promises it makes to the American people and put America first. And I have fought against Democrats' damaging policies like the Green New Deal, wide open, deadly, unsafe border policies, and the trans agenda on children and against women. with that has brought years of non-stop, never-ending personal attacks, death threats, lawfare, ridiculous slander and lies about me that most people could never withstand even for a single day. It has been unfair and wrong, not only to me, but especially to my family, but it's been wrong to my district as well. I have too much self-respect and dignity. I love my family way too much, and I do not want my sweet district to have to endure a hurtful and hateful primary against me by the president that we all fought for, only to fight and win my election while Republicans will likely lose the midterms, and in turn be expected to defend the president against impeachment after he hatefully dumped tens of millions of dollars against me and tried to destroy me. It's all so absurd and completely unserious. I refuse to be a battered wife, hoping it all goes away and gets better. If I am cast aside by the president and the MAGA political machine and replaced by neocons, big pharma, big tech, military-industrial war complex, foreign leaders, and the elite donor class that can never ever relate to real Americans, then many common Americans have been cast aside and replaced as well. There is no plan to save the world or a 4D chess game being played. When common American people realize and understand that the political industrial complex of both parties is ripping this country apart, that not one elected leader like me is able to stop Washington's machine from gradually destroying our country, and instead the reality is that they, common Americans, the people, possess the real power over Washington, then I'll be here by their side to rebuild it. Until then, I'm going back to the people that I love, to live my life to the fullest as I always have, and I look forward to a new path ahead. I'll be resigning from office with my last day being January 5th, 2026, and I look forward to seeing many of you again sometime in the future. May God bless you all, and may God bless America.
Damn it, I don't know why my mic is not kicking back on, but I'm sorry. What do you think? She says many things that are true, right? She says many things that are true. The question is, are there truth in her words? Who knows? Here's what I know 100% about why she's stepping down. Okay, I'm going to share with you what I know 100% about why she's stepping down. I don't know. And there's my 100% truth. I don't know. And the issue is, you don't know either. And the issue is, anybody commenting on it doesn't know. Doesn't know. Atmoplast, Mark Levin, disgusting speech. I don't know that I've seen it. Send me a link. I'll watch it. If there's something to talk about, I will. Here's the deal. Chaos is what the system is manufacturing right now. Bottom line, chaos on everything. In order to win, to take over our country by making it fall, they must keep chaos going, period. But I'll give you an example. Let's say Candace says this is why she stepped down. You'd be full of shit because you don't actually know. All you're watching out there is people pontificating their opinions. That's it. That's the absolute truth. So all you can do in reality is judge MTG by what you would do. The Epstein shit is chaos. This is chaos. The border shit is chaos. everything needs chaos. But let me ask you a question. Did she just become a distraction? Well, true. True. But let me ask you another question. If you judged MTG by what you would do, then what would you do? If you knew it was a tough battle, and I'm sorry, death threats, insults, lies about who you are, lies about your career, lies about your effectiveness, well, wake the fuck up. That comes with the position of being out there. So really, I think the only thing that we could actually judge this on is, what would you do? What would you do? Would you quit? Would you give up? Most of you would say no. So if I judged her by me, I wouldn't give up. At least you finish your term, am I right? You finish your term. But understand, if she was to finish her term, then she's in through the midterms. And I can tell you, what I see as the plan for the midterms is for the system to take over and to neuter Trump. So wait a minute, you're a Trump supporter, you're fighting for America, you says all this great stuff, but you're not going to fulfill your obligation and secure that seat. So you're going to retire? The only thing I don't agree with any of this is live to your term, live to your word, live to your term. No matter how hard it is, all of us get death threats. All of us get called names. All of us attack our family. Shit, they attack the shit out of my kids. It's ridiculous. All of them spread bullshit lies. And yes, it's a cabal. And yes, it's whatever. And so I have a disconnect that I'm fighting for America, but I'm going to give up my seat because I know the seat is in peril and we're going to lose the midterms. Is she saying I want to go out a winner so that I was still in office and I was the one that quit and they didn't vote me out? What is it? So that part's a little confusing. So the only thing you can do, honestly, in this world where the majority of the iceberg's not visible, you're right. Here's the only thing you can actually do. Anybody telling you they know why she resigned or what's going on is pulling it out their ass. And that's just the truth. The second part of it is, don't judge lawmakers or actually anyone based on what other people say. Judge the people based on what would you do. Some of you feel she's a coward, a traitor for doing it. There you go. You follow what I'm saying? Do that. Are people judging her because she'll retire 2 days after her retirement pension kicks in? Let me ask you a question. If you spent millions of dollars and you fucking fought your ass off and you're going to get pension, well, she probably made a right move for her. I can't even blame her for that. That doesn't mean anything in the scope of things. Now, here's probably the best barometer we have. And some people are saying, well, this podcaster knows why, this podcaster knows why, this. Come on. Come on. The best barometer to, and by the way, yeah, if President Trump called you a traitor, he'd be fucking devastated. And the one thing we know about President Trump, if he calls somebody a name, that fucking name's gonna stick. So that's got to be devastating. That's got to be devastating. And yes, you're right. She may be using the Epstein stuff as an excuse. But here's what I think is going to be more important in this. What does she do next will be the only way you can judge her. And you know what? It doesn't fucking matter why she's leaving. Doesn't fucking matter why she's leaving. That's her personal choice. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Many of you are saying she pushed Trump over the edge. Well, I think probably you're right. But you know what? All that has happened here is we got new chaos. So how about this? Instead of being surprised by chaos, why don't you just understand that's the rule? And instead of being shocked at chaos and the squirrels and all that shit, why don't you just look at what people do? And if you watch her, and you're right, maybe she's like us. Maybe she's just fucking burnt out. I can understand that. All of us can understand that. The issue is it's her decision. We don't know. But I am saying you can judge people by how they continue after the fact. If after the fact she pops up on CNN, right? And she becomes a big paid attacker, then you can probably say, well, I was right about her. But I've come to realize, and I agree with you, President Trump always has a reason for doing what he's doing. I believe that. We never know what's truly going on. And you moved away from mainstream media giving you their paid opinions and their opinion that being a Republican is bad. And all you did was swap it for other people to just give you their fucking opinions. Now, what I find interesting is if we just look at the generic indicators. What are the generic indicators? And the generic indicators is she did go on a tour, CNN, The View, MSNBC. And the one thing you know is they don't bring those people on unless they know you're going to hurt MAGA. Just think about that. The big media is 100% about conning America and getting an agenda passed. But where did we see her pop up? On very places that will never have a true conservative on. Because the system's not going to allow it. But if the system, right, knows you're going to somehow damage Trump's agenda, or you're going to damage MAGA, which they hate, they're going to have you on. For me, that's a little bit of an indicator too. I do find it interesting. What was the event that basically coincided with her announcement, I'm retiring? Did any of you catch it? something interesting popped its head up. I just want to see if you catch. Not Epstein. It wasn't Epstein. Something else popped its head up. We knew Epstein was coming. We knew there was a battle out of Epstein. Not Epstein. Something out of nowhere popped up at the same time. What was it? At the exact same time in that window, not Zelensky, right? Trump called her out earlier. Not the Comey indictment. Something, listen to my words, something out of nowhere. Not about how much she's worth. There's always been those discussions. Being called a treasonous, no. Talking about Israel, no. You're getting closer when you say Mandani, but not Mandani. It's not Charlie Kirk. That happened in the past. I'm talking almost simultaneously. Almost simultaneously. Something popped up out of nowhere. Almost simultaneous. It's not Trump bombed Iran. That was back in the past. I'm talking her resignation was yesterday. Get closer. Come on, get closer. Her resignation was yesterday. What also happened in that 24-hour period? George Bush came out and said he is coming back to retake over the Republican Party. Did you miss that? George Bush came back out and said he will be leading the charge to take back the Republican Party. That's the enemy within. We know where a lot of these enemies are to MAGA, and it's the Republican Party. Think about that. That's not a coincidence. That's not a coincidence. And I've been very clear with you. I love Barbara Bush. I voted for Bush the whole bit, but I now know, fuck, we were conned. Something's going on. That's it. And so I look for these coincidences that for some reason aren't coincidences. But look how many of you never caught what Bush said, that they're coming back to reclaim the Republican Party. Wow. Anyway, I love you all. And I want you to know the GOP absolutely hates MAGA. The GOP detests those that hang on to the words of Donald J. Trump and know the whole system's broke. They fucking detest it. My enemy in the audit was not the left. It was the GOP. Many broadcasters have been threatened that if you have Jovan on and you cover his stuff, we will never let senators and congresspeople and all these people ever come on your show. The GOP sends around teams to make sure you don't pay attention, lawmakers or otherwise, to what was really found in the Arizona audit. Something's going on. Something is going on, folks. It's a uniparty. But yes, this is an indicator of what's going on. But you know what? Judge people by what they do and what they say. But if you judge people by the fact that they just wear a cross on the outside of the shirt and they're a patriot and fighting, you miss the important things like, well, we never had the PCAPs, and you give them a pass. And I don't. Inspect what you expect. I love you all. Share this program.
Our courts are based on clear and convincing evidence. Want convictions? Want justice? For what happened in the 2020 election? Then we need your help. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The decision you make in the next few moments could decide whether we ever get our elections fixed or not. Here's why. Trump campaign and allies filed 64 different lawsuits. They all went down in flames. 100% of these cases were presented on "It's the machines," or "The machines changed the votes," or "The voting company executive said he would make sure Donald J. Trump would not win." They all went down in flames. Why? You can't bring theories to court as evidence. No supposed Zoom call or six-degree polynomial math theory or census data is or ever will be proof of fraud. You can't bring theories to court as evidence. Here's why. In both civil and criminal law, the side making a claim carries the burden of proof, and prosecutors must prove guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. Without physical or otherwise verifiable evidence, a case cannot meet this high threshold. Physical evidence is the key. The question is, did anyone get relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election? And the answer is yes, absolutely. The full forensic audit of Maricopa County, Arizona is the only evidence-gathering work which gathered relevant, reliable, provable, testable, and duplicatable evidence of what really happened in the 2020 general election. Evidence so damning that the system, the deep state, and those who pull the strings of this country have fought to keep it hidden and have hoped to have it be forgotten to time. Almost $3 million invested in time, funds, and efforts to unlock that which the system wanted hidden. But now, that evidence is in danger of being lost forever. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. With the 2026 midterms coming up, the system is going to try to lame duck President Trump and then most likely introduce new impeachment proceedings. This is the evidence which will help win the war which is surely to come. We need to keep Maricopa County full forensic investigation and archives secure and ongoing. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then we need your help. Please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We need your help securing the full forensic audit archives. Don't allow the only testable, objective, and reliable 2020 election evidence fall into obscurity. Millions were spent on getting it documented and tested. This is historic evidence. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. The historic Maricopa County full forensic audit effort processed 20,895,610 digital and forensic images of varying formats, resulted in 208 million individual evidence-proof files. The system processed over 58 billion forensic measurements, resulting in over 2 trillion individual base computations. No hopium, no hype, just hardcore forensic evidence. Please make sure the Maricopa County full forensic audit archives survive. Donate now. So if you want what happened in the 2020 election fixed, then please donate to protect and secure this historic evidence. We can't do it without you. We need you. America needs you. Our future needs you. Please donate now. Not fixing 2020 will damn our nation forever. Please donate now.